Sa World Remit, naiintindihan namin ang iyong paglalakbay. Na minsan, kailangan lumayo upang makamit ang tagumpay. With ways to save more, when you send more, World Remit is here for you, so you can be there for them.
Okay, nako, good evening. Magandang gabi ho sa inyong lahat. Happy Tuesday ho, no? Today is the 8th of February 2022. Bagong taon, ikalawang buwan, at buwan ho ng pag-ibig ngayon, love month. So sana maging love-filled ang inyong buwan. Good evening. Welcome ho sa ating program. Ako po si SONNY LARAGAN. Dito po sa, Legal Advice Corner. It happens every Tuesday. So welcome mo sa ating mga kababayan sa apat na sulok ko ng United Kingdom. Ayan, didinig ko sa tenga ko uli. At syempre sa ating mga kababayan sa apat na sulok ng Europa, welcome mo kayo dito sa ating programa. Welcome kayo. Good evening ho sa inyo. No? At syempre, napapanood din ho tayo sa buong mundo. No? Sa Pilipinas, sa Middle East, sa Amerika. So sa ating mga kababayan na naroroon, welcome ho. No? At tuloy ho kayo, kabayan. Okay, well, hindi ho ako, for those who are watching us for the first time, hindi ho ako ang star of the show. Ang star of the show ho ay maganda ho suot niya ibang kulay. No? Hindi ko alam, i-describe ko, tatalangin ko anong kulay yan. Siyempre, mga kaibigan, ang star of the show, ang abogada ho ng bayan dito ho sa United Kingdom, walang iba kundi ang managing partner ng Deo Volente Solicitors, walang iba kundi si Attorney DANNA Quinto. Happy Tuesday, Attorney.
Happy Tuesday, Mr. Laragan. Happy Tuesday sa mga taga-subaybay natin. Tuloy po kayo. Welcome back sa ating remote social bubble. Si Mr. Laragan ay paslim ng paslim every week, Mr. Laragan. So,
talaga?
Kamusta naman? Yan! Napansin ko kanina. Parang,
really?
Paslim ka, especially your pennies. Talagang,
has something changed with that, Attorney? May nagbago ba sa akin?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Sa tingin ko talagang
right.
mas na ngayon, mas ni jawline, pronounce na. Nako,
yun ang problema.
Jawline, ha?
Pero may problema dyan, Attorney. Ang problema yata dyan, yung subcutaneous kasi diba, the upper fat natin, subcutaneous, and yung fat natin sa tiyan natin, yung visceral fat.
Visceral fat.
Visceral fat. Yung subcutaneous, sometimes parang you look younger pag may subcutaneous ka sa mukha mo eh. Problem is, nababawasan yung subcutaneous fat ko.
Yeah.
Oo, kaya lumalabas yung mga jowl dito, yung mga lumalabas. Oh. But anyway, ano ba? Okay. All right.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing. It's meant to be a compliment. Let's make it clear.
Hindi, totoo nga. Hindi, okay lang. But that is the consequence of it. The part of, if you're probably losing weight, one of the consequences is yung parang, yung mga ano ba yung lines lang? Yung mga ganon, yung mga
Linya lang ako ng ano, baka
wrinkles
masira ako
pala.
ng director.
Wrinkles at saka ano.
To-mentor lang ako, Mati. So, baka ano ako
Ma,
mamaya eh.
okay ba?
Ayoko.
Mapagalitan tayo, no?
Mapagalitan tayo ni Direk
We
Pao.
might be
Hello,
told
Direk
off.
Pao.
Wait, well, you're
That's
looking
why
well,
he
ha?
was, yeah.
Oh, how's your week naman? Kumusta naman? Because the last photo we had of you on the show last Thursday was you were with your group, yung Bums, Thumbs, and ano ba yun?
Oh,
Legs, Bums, and
Yeah,
Thumbs.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was Monday. Ngayon, minove na namin. May mga changes. The only thing that we want to do is do it for weeks. So we're moving that Thursday now. So,
Oh.
we have, Thursday na, dapat Monday. Tapos napansin namin, mas maganda, mas madami atang makakapunta pag Thursday. So, we're moving that to Thursday. I've been to St. Albans. I've been back to see friends in St. Albans.
Oh, good.
Wednesday. So, yung old mentor ko,
Ito.
which is Phil
Meron
Willens.
yata. Sino to? Ito, attorney, diba?
Yes, that's Phil. He was a judge for 20 plus years. He was a part-time employment tribunal judge. He was my office neighbor. Hindi ko actually siya hindi ko siya confirm noon.
Hindi mo siya colleague noon.
Noon. Although now he's a consultant at DV Solicitors. No, so when I got when I got the managing partner post, I got him as a consultant for training.
Okay.
Specifically just to
For
it's
employment.
He's been in legal practice for 50 years. So 50
Wow.
years siya in legal practice. Lots of good kasi wisdom lang eh. Solid yung
Oo.
wisdom ni Phil. Talagang nakakatawa. If meron kang kumbaga we call him Judge Phil. He's like he's very very sharp. So
Wow.
we go for lunch every now and again, and but we always consult with him. He's a very good lawyer, and we're very
50
I'm
years.
very proud.
50 years nga ba? 50 years?
5-0, yeah.
And then,
5-0.
well, he was a lawyer more of labor. Ano ba tawag din? Employment law, ganyan? Ang
No,
kanyang
he's a
specialty?
lawyer of everything.
Everything. Oh, okay. Okay.
His own firm. He did crime for a career spanning 50 years. He's done.
Wow.
He's done everything.
Hindi, decade tuloy. Ano ba 50 years attorney? Wala, no? Hindi wala namang Century kasi,
Wala.
100.
Half a
Wala, 5
century,
decades.
probably.
Half a
5
century, half
decades or
century.
half a century, if you want to. So
Okay.
he did in his earlier years criminal law. He did civil litigation, family litigation, conveyancing as well. And he's retired now with the judge. He only does consulting. So he was a judge, a part-time tribunal judge, employment tribunal judge for about 20 years, 20 plus years. So yeah,
You mentioned, attorney, lunch ba? You had lunch?
Yeah, we had lunch. Yes.
So, ano yung lunch na to? Can you show us, ano to? You had fish, which is good. Anong klaseng fish yan na in-order mo? Parang bangus ba yan? Parang may bangus ba rito? May
No,
milk fish?
sea bream. That's
Sea bream. All right. And what did he... And he had...
He had falafel, but that's the main course. We had starters before that. Kasi
Wow.
matakaw kasi ako.
Pero ang
So,
laki. Oh, galing. Ang laki na sea bream mo, ha?
laki sea bream na. Naubos ko yun.
Oh, that's good. Protein. Oh, protein.
Yeah,
Good for
I
your
love
di ba?
fish. I love fish very much.
Ano yun? Parang
So,
salad? Parang salad. Ano yung nasa unahan na yun? On top of it. So,
yeah, salad. It's a Turkish place, so Turkish food is very well known for their salads. So yeah, it's salad. Sarap, masarap po.
Oh,
That's
wow.
hey, di ko mapura. Ewan ko kung Haven or Haven ba. That's in St. Albans, plug natin. Hindi po sila sponsored, but that's Abigail.
yeah, okay lang. Oh, saan yan? Sa may St. Albans.
Yeah, St.
So,
Albans.
sikat na Turkish restaurant yan, no? Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I think the photo, kasi hindi natin pinakita ni Direk Pao earlier. That was Abigail. Explain ko lang. I don't know if you
sino
can
to?
see
Sino
that,
yan?
Mr. Laragan.
Sino yan?
Yeah. That's Abigail. I used to work with Abigail. Abigail, I used to work at. And also,
St.
Abigail.
Albans din. St. Albans.
St. Albans, yeah. St. Albans.
Oh, okay.
Abigail
Albans.
used,
No, St. Albans. Yan.
yeah, St. Albans is the proper. Abigail used to be my professor for land law in University of Hertfordshire, and
Oh, really?
I
Yeah.
used to work with her as well. So she's also a
Ah,
mentor.
mentor and colleague eventually, no?
And colleague, but yeah, nag-merge yung previous firm namin at many years ago.
All right.
We carried on as very good friends, and she's been a mentor. She's always been a very good
Pero
friend.
did she become a managing partner of any of the firm eventually? Hindi.
No, not that firm, but she was pretty much managing the ano sila dad and daughter duo. So dad niya
Ah,
solicitor, so dad and daughter duo yan sila. And then I think pa-retire yung dad niya at that time, and then they merged with us. Photiades previously, many years ago. We're talking about siguro 10 years ago. We're talking about 10
wow.
years.
Okay. Pero magaling,
Yeah.
no? I mean, you have done well because now you are the managing partner. The reason why I asked is when the merger happened, when both firms merged, law firms, sino naging managing partner? Kaya tanong ko, sabi mo hindi naman siya. So, now,
Yeah.
ikaw, mga kaibigan, hindi nyo alam. Etong pinakilala ko to, si Attorney Dana, no? Si Attorney, as managing partner of Deo Volente. So, you are making us proud. You have made us proud and still making us proud because somehow you're at the helm of a law firm, no? And you're not talking of just a father and daughter or a brother or friend na isa lang. You're talking of a whole team. Di ba? Maraming tao Di ba? So,
It's
hindi
a lot
naman
of
yan.
work. It's
Ha?
a lot of work, but it's good. It's a lot of hard
Oo,
work.
di ba? Meron ba kayo mga more than 10? 10 or more?
Yeah, more than 10. Yeah,
Oh,
more
more
than
than
10.
10.
I'm
Oh.
still a practicing, a practicing lawyer as well. So
Oo, good.
all hands on deck. It's not just
Kanya-
managing. It's also
Kanya nga. So that's really really big and I mean, we're really honored, no? Kaya nga di ba? Si Attorney nasa cover nung magazine natin, no? Na Yes Philippines at one time, di ba? So you're making us proud.
I think and the reason why I post those things as well, because you look back at your life. Ako naniniwala ako na you owe a lot of people yung growth mo sa buhay, and it's always good to look back dun sa and still keep in touch dun sa mga tao na nagdagdag ng definitely yung dalawang tao na yun very much and still having an impact sa career ko. So those two people
Galing, oo.
taught me and still teaching me. I see them regularly. It doesn't matter kung saan ako mapunta professionally. I always know I don't know everything. So yung years of experience, especially in Phil, 50 years of experience, Abigail from the academic side of things, as well as yung running their own practice, local practice. Many years ago in St. Albans, and so it's a great pleasure to see them regularly, to still learn from them. It doesn't stop. It doesn't stop there. Tsaka, yung sinasabi natin na ano nga ba sa Pilipino, Mr. Laragan, na lumilingan ka dun sa
Sa pinagalingan. Lumilingon ka.
And talagang,
Which is good. Yung gratefulness, di ba? Being grateful for the yung as a professor, eventually a teacher pala, instructor, and si Phil, no, for the knowledge that he has imparted to you, no, because although you were not together in a firm, pero you bump into him, neighbor nyo, but somehow you got something from them, no, from these people. They were also they added on to or enriched your legal profession, or
And
yung
meron
legal learning.
Meron yung common thing before with them also. All of us are big mountain fans. Abigail.
Oh,
Si Abigail
mountain climbers? When you say mountain, what do you mean sa going up mountains?
Yeah, lahat sila. They're both rock climbers in their old days. They were Abigail was the one who taught me how to climb in Scotland, who really exposed me to Scotland na landscape. And Abigail used to climb rock climb years ago. The same with Phil. Phil's a very good climber.
Rock climbing.
And runner.
You have to be very strong. Yung body mo, yung body weight mo, you have to, di ba?
They're both very, they both have that outdoorsy interest as well. Kaya I think kami nagkakasundo. So, kindred spirit, kumbaga. And so we don't just talk about work, we talk about, we talk about our interests, we talk about kung ano yung mga pinagagawa, travels. It's good. It's good to keep, friends na hindi lang, not necessarily about work or not necessarily about they need you or you need them. It's just you enjoy their company.
Yeah.
Company,
Yes.
Good company, enjoy life. Talk about things that you love. It's always good. Minsan pag stress, pag stress ka, for me, if things are things are a bit tiring, sometimes a good conversation is
Yes.
good,
Totoo
is
yan.
also a good antidote.
Totoo yan.
So, yeah.
Totoo yan. I was
At
watching on
masarap na
YouTube.
ikain natin yan. Kumbaga sa ating mga Pilipino, pag pagod tayo, ikain natin yan. Just have a good meal.
Pero tama ka. Well, I'm talking about, let's say, stress, because you were mentioning stress. I was watching this guy. He's a doctor, actually, on YouTube. Earlier, I forgot his first name, Pradi Samnadas or something. And yun, ang stress yung sometimes calling a friend, calling somebody, or kaya yung tipong you will have to compliment somebody. If you make somebody feel good, somehow you feel good, and somehow yung stress mo gets neutralized in a bit, no? Not totally, pero yung mga ganung mga strategies. Calling a friend, sabi mo kaya, calling a friend. So, teka muna. Marami tayong mga, we have this little game that we have every time, attorney, di ba? Yung manghuhula ka, hindi ka naman nandaya, no? So, walang dayaan, okay? It's a little game. It's a little game that we play kung sino unang bumabati sa atin. Siyempre, we have to acknowledge them. Maraming salamat for being there and taking the time out to really watch us, no? Kumbaga, sinusubaybayan tayo. Okay. Sino hinulaan mo last week? Hindi ko matandaan eh.
Si Marian Galicia Paner ata yung hinulaan ko na
Yung last week. Okay. You wanna stick with her? You wanna change your,
Papalik ako para patas. Balik naman ako kay Oliver Fernandez para...
Oliver Fernandez. Okay, good. Okay, so last week, ang bet mo, si Marian Galicia Paner. But ang nakauna si Oliver, di ba?
That's
Wait,
right, yeah.
by the way, Oliver, when you invite somebody as a friend, paano you have to stop it muna tapos then do it again para lumabas siya latest, kasi kung if you've done it many months ago or even a year ago, whatever, di ba? Hindi mo mapapansin na, you will have to look for it. So if you're watching Oliver, i-unfriend mo, unsend mo na yun, o unrequest.
Yeah, cancel, yeah.
O i-cancel mo yung request mo and then do again the request, no? Okay.
Yeah.
Attorney, mga kaibigan, tama nga ba hula ni attorney last week? Teka muna, hindi pa direct. So last week, ang hinulaan ay si, ano pangalan ito? Si
Marian.
Oliver. Si Oliver, no? Pero
No, last
ngayon,
week, Marian
sorry,
Galicia
si Marian. Ngayon, si Oliver. O sige, tingnan natin direct. Sige. Yan, okay. Sino ba yan? Okay. Hindi, kasi you were thinking, teka muna, I was thinking of Marian last week. Sige, si Oliver, parang ganyan, no? So, I was asking you kanina, are you gonna keep it or are you gonna change it? No? Ayan. Okay, pakibasa, attorney.
That's what I get for not sticking with you, Marian, no?
Pero si Marian ang gusto mo last week, yeah? So, ganun. So,
last week yun.
yeah. Tama naman.
Yeah, let's bago profile picture ni Mariana.
Bago ba?
Bago.
Wow. Ano yan?
Boy, naabang ko.
Dress ba yan? Dress?
Dress, she looks fantastic.
Red?
Yeah.
Okay.
Marian
Sige.
says, hello po, Kuya Sonny and Attorney Dana at sa lahat, happy Tuesday po. And stay safe and God bless. God bless, Marian. You look fantastic. Bagong-bago
Okay,
yung...
fantastic.
Yeah.
Attorney, sino ang ating parang silver medalist o salutatorian? Sino palagay mo?
I have to go with Oliver Fernandez.
Oliver ulit. Si Oliver na. Okay, Oliver. Tama ba?
Palindigan ko na.
Okay, Oliver Fernandez. Tingnan natin si Oliver nga ba? Tama. Okay, wow.
Yan.
So, ayan, tama
Yan.
ka naman. Alam mo sila dalawa naglalaban eh. Parang ganyan,
Yes,
ano?
sila talaga dalawa eh. Parang ano yan
Hmm.
eh. Parang
Oo.
talagang hindi mo yan maano eh. Parang Rafa Nadal tsaka si Roger Federer noon. So, yeah.
Oo. Ano kaya sikreto, no? How do they do it? Pag dinig pa ba nila ng first note ng intro mo, we have to find out eventually, no?
Have to
Okay.
find out yung trick. Yes.
Ayan,
Oliver
si
Fernandez
Oliver.
says, Happy Tuesday to one and all in our virtual social bubble. Good evening, Attorney Donna, Kuya Sonny, and Derek Pao. Let us exercise our brain muscle as Attorney Donna leads us in another
Oo.
night of jargon busting. Ayan.
Oo
Muscle
nga.
exercise, brain
Oo nga.
exercise na po tayo ngayon.
Tama
At
yan, tama yan.
mag
So,
ano tayo, sit ups ng ating mga mga brain muscles. It's okay. It's gonna be interesting. Ikaw may mga favorite ka na favorite ka na term. I hope may makuha ka dito ngayon na parang oo nga no. That's a weird sounding phrase that will stick to you. So I hope you do today. There's a few
oo.
today. So let's see. Isa pa naman to sa favorite areas of law ko.
Hmm.
It's one of my favorite areas of law.
Okay, ayan. O, sino naman ang ating third sa hula mo?
Aba, may third pa.
Oh, may third pa. Katuan
Sino
lang.
ba? Si
Sige.
Edgar Duay. Sa tingin ko si Edgar Duay.
Lumalaban din si Edgar Duay. Tingnan
Malapit na
natin.
si Edgar eh. We have
Lumalaban
to
din yan.
like-
Bisan na una yata si Edgar. Ayan.
Tita
Oy.
Cora is here.
Oo,
And
si Ma'am Cora.
bright and early. Yes.
Yeah, bright and
Tita
early. No?
Cora. Hello, Sir Sonny, Attorney Donna, and all. Magandang gabi. Magandang gabi po, Tita Cora. Nako.
Ma'am Cora, no? Si Ma'am Cora, teacher natin yan sa Notre, no? Sa Caloocan, sa Grace Park, sa Metro Manila. So, good evening. Si Ma'am Cora, no? Good evening. Uy! Ano na pala?
Ayan.
Asan na kaya na to? Nasaan na to?
Hello,
Hello,
London.
London.
Nakabalik ka na ba? Tita.
Oh, February na. Baka umabot ka ng June, July dyan, no? Oo.
Sabi, how are you all? Good evening, Sonny and Attorney Donna and everyone. Nasaan ba po kayo? Nakabalik na po ba kayo?
Oo, nasa ka na, Emeline. Ikaw ba ay nandiyan na o nasa Wimbledon ka na? No? Taga Wimbledon yan eh. Oo.
Naku, parang may
Saan
bago
yan?
tayo.
Oh.
Chelton Baraoil Katyusa. Good evening, Sir Sonny.
Wow, something unique yan ah. Oo, good evening.
Taga
Good
po
evening,
kayo?
Chelton na Barasil.
Barasil ba yan? Okay, Barasil.
Hindi ka, Barasil ba? Barawil, no? Barawil. Barawil.
Katyusa.
Oo. B-A-R-A-O. Bago yan. Taga saan ka? Chelton, no? Chelton.
Chelton.
Katyusa.
Yung
Katyusa.
pangalan.
Oo, okay.
Happy Tuesday sa lahat ng tagapakinig. Ang lalim, no?
Oo nga,
Happy
oo.
Tuesday sa lahat.
Nasaan ka na, Emeline? No? Ito si Emeline.
Nasa po
Nasaan ka
kayo?
na?
Opo.
Oo.
Ano po
Ayan.
tayo? Roll call.
Ito, Mary Rose Fronda.
Fronda says, good evening po, Sir Sonny. Bago din natin si Mary Rose.
Mary
Where are you
Rose,
from?
taga saan ka? Saan ka naka-base? So, mukhang front. May kaklase ba ako nung college ako sa UST na Fronda yata? Hindi ko na matandaan.
Good evening po,
Fronda
Sir
ang apelido,
Sonny.
no?
Attorney Donna. Good evening din,
Good
Mary
evening.
Rose.
Good evening. Oo, good evening, Mary Rose. Taga saan ka? Saan ka? Nasa UK ka ba? Or nasa Europe ka bang? Which part of Europe, no? Pakisabi lang. At saka yung kanina, si Chelton, no? Chelton ba? Oo. Oh, Rudy ka. Okay.
Rudy says, masayang Tuesday, always maganda at masayang Attorney Dana, mga looking guwapa, legendary Sir Sonny, and daming talent. Sir Edgar,
Si
loving
Edgar,
the
maraming talent. Oh.
Kita ko si Edgar, kanina may pinost na painting niya.
Yes.
Amazing. Amazing. Parang
Gift niya sa
Renoir.
mom niya 10 years ago. And it's a wonderful gift talaga, di ba? Yung something na ginawa mo, effort mo. Di ba? Sabi mo nga parang Renoir, di ba? Tama ba?
Looks like a proper impressionist. Yung mga kay Renoir na parang, alam mo yung is Renaissance man na
Oo.
may, yung colors niya, it's very impressionist. Very much like that period. Nakakatuwa.
Maraming
Very
talent si Edgar eh. He can do graphics, no? He can do yung comic strip natin, siya gumagawa niyan. He can play instruments, no? Marami siyang instrument, drums, bass guitar, piano, maraming talent eh.
tunay na
Ah,
henyo. Nasaan ka na ba, Edgar?
oh, oh,
Kanina ka
Edgar,
pa namin
mabuhay ka, no? Mabuhay ka, Rudy, ha? Si Rudy bumabate, no? So, mabuhay ka, Rudy, no? And to the
Rudy
family.
and Gia.
Yan. Uy,
Ayan
si
sila.
Darmin.
Darmin, kamusta na kayo?
Gulat naman ako, ha? Oo, Darby, kumusta ka na? Kumusta na?
Hindi ko pa
Si
tayo
Amira, dalaga na, no? Malaki na, no?
kasi nag-ano sila na positive. I think
Ano ba?
they posted it online, so I think I'm
Oo.
allowed to
Oo,
say.
yeah,
Oh
oh,
my
hindi, oo,
God,
oo, oo.
Darmin. Tapos
Mm.
na ata eh. Tapos na.
Tapos
They're
na,
all
tapos na. Oo. So, good evening,
na
Darmin,
ata.
ha? Mabuhay ka. Pag napunta kami ng... Saan ka ba, Darmin? Sa Brussels ka ba mismo? Sa capital? No? Yeah,
Doon
para
na ata.
lang kung sakaling mapunta kami. Because I'm traveling, di ba? I'm leaving on Thursday. I'm
Yes,
going
pupunta
to...
ka sa Greece na kung
Oh.
nakapasa.
Sa Athens. Uy, nag-worry kami, attorney, dahil baka yung PCR test kailangan. Yung pala, no, on the 70th, or today, anong day nga? Yesterday.
Yes, I
Oh,
saw
parang
that.
was the last day of parang yung mga PCR test. So after that, wala na. So all you need to go to show you would be yung mga proof of
COVID
ano,
pass, yeah.
yung mga vaccinations mo siguro, ganun lang.
That's right.
So yeah. Eto, Rosemary Guban. Taga saan ka, Rosemary?
Tegusan, good evening din. Magandang gabi po. Ang gaganda ng mga profile picture ngayon. Lahat ata
Yeah,
nag-update
oo.
eh. No, nata mag-update.
Pa,
May
pa,
Tigbao Vargas is here as well.
pareho kayo ni attorney si attorney Lira. Napapansin niyo yung mga profile photos. Excuse me. Oo. Magaganda ba?
Opo.
Magaganda, no?
Magaganda po. And talagang lahat, kahit po si May Tigbao Vargas, nag-update ng profile picture eh. Talagang,
Aba, kasi
lahat eh.
nakikita sa ano sa on air. So well, that's nice, no? If you're really updating, no, nakakatuwa, no? Hello, no? Rosemary Guban, ha? Tell us where you're from, ha? Para at least malaman lang namin to let us know na taga saan ba yung mga iba't ibang mga nanonood sa atin, no? Okay, si
Exactly.
Emmeline Rafael, ano ang sabi niya, Emmeline? Ayun. Okay.
Hey, welcome
Oh,
back! Welcome
oh.
back! Natuwa naman
Last
ako para
Saturday pa, welcome back. Oh, Saturday. Anong weekend
welcome
dumating na siya?
back. Welcome
Okay.
back to the cold.
Oh. Welcome back to the cold. Oh, welcome back to the cold. Oh, lamig na naman. Baka pero hindi, matibay yan siya, no? Mahusay tumakbo, kaya walang arthritis yan.
Yeah, wala.
Walang
Galing.
arthritis yan. So, ako meron pa nga
Very
itong
nice.
finger ko, masakit eh, no?
Okay
Masakit.
lang yan. Mawawala yan. Mawawala yan, Mr. La. Healthy mo na ngayon. It'll just disappear. It'll just disappear once yung ano nyo eh. Tuloy-tuloy na yan. Kita mo ngayon
Okay.
nakapas mo na eh.
Teka muna, yung session nyo nga pala, attorney, pagka nag-ano kayo ng legs, thumbs, and gaano katagal ang session nyo?
Mga
How many
45
exercises? Di ba yung friend mo, yung colleague mo used to work in a, ano ba? In a parang, ano ba? Ganun ba? She was teaching, ano?
Gym, yeah. She's a fitness instructor, yeah.
Fitness instructor, yeah, that's
Yeah,
okay.
we have 45 minutes, about a full-on exercise, 45 minutes, and lots of different variation. I lost count. So it's legs, bums, and thumbs. So you'll go through all those muscle groups throughout 45 minutes. Magaling,
Okay,
magaling.
wow, magaling. Good.
Thank you, Lauren.
Ang gusto ko dyan yung ano, yung bums, para, di ba, you're trying to do
Masakit
bum.
din eh.
Di ba yung bum? Dorny. Oo, uy. Enrico Rojas. Uy! Enrico, ikaw ba yan? Yung ating kaibigan from Austria sa, ano ba capital ng Austria, attorney?
Vienna?
Vienna. So,
Vienna,
Vienna.
that's right.
Vienna.
Yeah,
Oh, alam ko. Enrico,
Enrico.
ano to? Nurse na very successful, no? A very, yung job niya parang unique dyan sa kanilang lugar dyan sa ano eh. Sa Austria. Mabuhay ka, ha? Mabuhay, Enrico. Yan ang mga frontliners natin na during yung kainitan ng COVID, attorney. Sila yung mga talagang, di ba, nakasubo eh. Di ba? Delikado rin yung life nila, lalo na yung mga unang mga variants, no? Talagang nakakatakot. Itong Omicron, medyo, thank God, no? Nag-ano na, makakalabas-labas na tayo. Hopefully,
That's
sana
right.
wala ng problema, no?
Ano na po.
Luluwag-luwag na. Ayan. Well, mabuhay, ha? Vienna, Vienna yan. Alam natin sa Vienna, kaibigan. Vienna po, sabi niya. Vienna po. Mabuhay.
Vienna, Austria.
Oo.
No.
Asa ba? Nilabas mo ba direct? Nailabas mo ba yan? Yung sa, ayun, sa Vienna. Okay.
Yun, Enrico,
Alright.
tuloy po kayo. Thank you.
Mabuhay. Marami tayong mga friends all over Europe. Imagine, nanonood sa atin si Enrico, no, diyan sa Vienna. Maraming salamat din. Ikaw ba'y nasa work o ikaw ba'y off? No?
Ano, shift mo ba ngayon or maraming salamat po kayo.
Ayaw, maraming salamat Enrico Rojas. Ito yung mga maganda mga story ng mga kababayan natin, mga success stories yan, no? How it was so challenging for him to become a nurse diyan sa Austria, 'di ba? Hindi naman basta-basta yung 'di ba? Yung mga nurses diyan, no? Wala namang kumbaga demand na pagkuha, but he was able to strategize and work on becoming a nurse, no? Ano yan? Happy to be back and safe. Kaya lang nanibago naman ako sa lamig, kaya ito nagpapahinga pa with the heater on. Uy. Ay, well, magano ka lang, dagdag ka ng ngayon, yata 50%, idadagdag na, no? Tataas ang ating mga bills natin. Yung bills natin sa heating, sa electric bills at lahat, no? So ayan, maglagay ka ng additional layer na lang siguro kung pwede, no? Pero hindi, kaya, mayaman yan eh. Marami nga yan. Kaya. Uy, Juliet Alviedo Marcelino. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
He says, good evening, Sonny and Attorney Donna. Happy Tuesday po sa lahat. Good evening. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Yeah,
Taga Caloocan yan. Taga Grace Park, Caloocan City yan. Si Juliet, no? Enrico Rojas, going home na po. Okay, mabuhay.
Sige, samahan ka namin. Hatid ka namin pa uwi, Enrico.
Alright. Tama. Okay, we're gonna have a short break, attorney, and when we come back, yung topic nating, yung personal injury cases, no? Yung mga terminology, yung mga bagay-bagay na dapat natin, tama ba yan? Na dapat nating malaman, no?
Yes.
At who knows, baka we can come across them in case may mangyari sa atin o sa ating mga kaibigan, no? Kakilala, kamag-anak, whoever, no?
Kahit kapitbahay.
Kapitbahay, yes.
Pwede niyo tsikahin na alam nyo ang mga terminology sa personal injury cases. So hopefully it comes handy.
Okay, so we're gonna have a short break, guys. So wag ko kayong alis. Kami ho ay magbabalik ni attorney para pag-usapan natin yung i-discuss itong yung mga terminologies, yung jargons na ginagamit sa personal injury cases. So wag ko kayong alis. Kami po ay magbabalik. Saglit po lamang.
Mula doon hanggang ngayon, serbisyong mapagkakatiwalaan, serbisyong maaasahan pagdating sa inyong mga padalang balikbayan boxes. Dito ka na sa Forex Cargo. Sa presyong kayang-kaya ng bulsa, sigurado ka pa sa inyong padala. Forex Cargo. Dahil kailangan makarating. Call 0208-813-7064. O, ano pang inaantay niyo mga kabayan? Tayo na sa Forex Cargo.
%, all natural, tasty, healthy, versatile, 4 unique flavors. Taste a real sauce. Galettos.
May problema ka ba sa landlord mo? Baka AV ka na ni Kuya. May problema sa mga kapitbahay, sa trabaho. O kaya naman kay Mister o kay Mrs. Away tungkol sa mala, mga may utang, mga aksidente, daing o laban sa ospital or sa NHS, harassment, o baka naman may stalker ka na gusto mong ireklamo. Punta na sa DV Solicitors para matulungan ka pagdating sa mga litigations at iba pang mga legal concerns. DV Solicitors at 2nd floor, Howard House, St. John Street, Bedford, MK42 0DJ. Tumawag sa 01234-350-244 or 01234-225-188 o kaya naman mag-email sa d.quinto@dvsolicitors.com. Visit our website at www.dvsolicitors.com.
World Remit, naiintindihan namin ang iyong paglalakbay. Na minsan, kailangan lumayo upang makamit ang tagumpay. With ways to save more, when you send more, World Remit is here for you, so you can be there for them.
Okay, nako. Uy, ano ba yan? May timer. may timer. Sabi, okay. Mali kasi sabi ko kanina, timer ko 5:40, biglang 6:40 talaga. Oh. Okay, so welcome back sa ating program. Ako po si Sonny Laragan. For those of you who have just tuned in, no, at ngayon pa lang nakapanood ng Legal Advice Corner, ito ho ay every Tuesday evening ho, no, 6 p.m. UK time. Sa ngayon ho, ito yung tunay na oras, GMT, no? Pero kapag ka summertime, medyo nababawasan, no? 7 hour. Nagbabago ho oras namin, eh. Kung halimbawa sa Pilipinas, ngayon ay 8 hours ang time difference. Pagdating ng, tatanong natin kay attorney, at kailan ba nagbabago? Di ba? Yung March ba? End of March, ang pagbabago ng, tawag dito, ng time difference natin sa Pilipinas. It becomes 7 hours, di ba?
That's right. End of March had that. Yes, end of March.
End of March.
Yeah, I think it's the last Sunday of March.
Last Sunday of March.
It's normally Sunday or Saturday ng 12 midnight coming into Sunday. So,
ayan, oo.
Yeah.
So, pagdating ng end of, I think it will have to be on a Sunday. And then, pag palo ng 2 o'clock, tama ba? 2 o'clock? Babalik?
I think
o
12
forward?
midnight. 12 midnight.
Spring forward eh. Spring forward, no? So,
and go back in...
1 o'clock, magiging 2 o'clock.
That's right.
Oo, tama. So, 1 o'clock to. Ayan, ganun. Nako, kami ho, taon-taon. Marami tayong mga kababayan sa Pilipinas, hindi nagbabago oras eh. Tataka sila, ba't ganito? Diba? Dati oras mo ganun, take 8 hours and again, but 7. Every year ho, year in, year out ho, walang pubabago yan. Oh, teka muna, pabatiin lang natin itong kaibigan lang natin. Ito, umabol. Okay, yan.
Ay, si Edgardo Cahagahastian is there. Good evening, Mr. Laragan, Attorney DANNA, and Direct Pal. Happy Tuesday to everyone, and happy Tuesday to those having dinner, work from home today. Naku, nagutom na naman ako.
Naku.
Nagutom na naman ako.
Anong oras ba ang last time mo? Anong oras ang last time mo ng pagkain, attorney?
Mga 8:30. It's 8, possibly 8 or 8:30 if I'm coming home from the
okay.
show.
So yun ang last meal mo. And then the following day, anong early meal mo for the following day?
Depende. Most of the time I'll have a little something for breakfast, but not all the time. Depende lang. Minsan I'll have a fruit, minsan I'll have a croissant. It doesn't depend on the mood. But I eat a light lunch. Normally a light lunch unless may kainan sa opisina. And then I eat a proper meal sa gabi.
Sa evening ang talagang full meal mo talaga.
Sa evening, after a long day, it's always say a little treat na dun ko inaano yung sarili ko na after a long day, you rest, you have a proper meal. Doon naman ako nagiging extra careful sa lunch. So I normally have a salad sa lunch, but as I've said, every now and then we cheat meal. Yeah.
Good salad, salad. That's good. Vegetables,
I
green
get
leafy
salad
vegetables.
from the restaurant. Nothing exciting. I just get a grocery salad. Yung mga nabibili mo lang because we're beside a grocery. So I would use that as a time to get some fresh air. Get my salad, go and just walk for a few minutes and then come back. Sometimes I would have a break for a while. Sometimes I would work through my lunch. I mean, some people, siguro divided yung ibang tao. Some people would say you need to have a break, and some people say, well, you do what you feel you have to do. May mga times like today, I have to work through my lunch. So,
okay. Kaya pala light lunch. Pero okay na yung salad. Salad yung mga ready to eat, parang ganon. Yung ganon ba binibili mo, naka-plastic
Yeah,
na?
ready to eat yung ready po.
Ready to eat. Eh, ano
Hindi
dressing
po
mo?
ako
Ano ginagamit mo?
may dressing na yun. So, may dressing.
May dressing na.
May dressing na. Yeah, may dressing.
Okay. Well, okay. Kasi ako, I have my salad and I have balsamic vinegar.
Ayun,
Sometimes I
balsamic.
would have yung 3 teaspoons of olive oil, 1 teaspoon of lemon, and then of course
Yeah.
yung ano, 'di ba, yung salt and pepper, Well, that's good. That's
Saying
good.
that, kanina nag-cupcake ako kasi kasi medyo I wouldn't say stress, but it's been a very very busy day. So I needed the sugar cake. I needed to power through. So I
Oh,
said to
yes.
I need the cupcake. It's one of those days. It's a long day. I allowed myself to have a cupcake. So, balik salad ulit tayo bukas.
Okay. Kailangan mo na sugar doon, Parang out of that, no? You must, yung carbohydrates mo, carbs mo, to power you up, no? Okay.
Power up, and if you need to focus, if you need to, sabi nila yung brain, the food for the brain is actually sugar. So, if you there are days that kailangan mo lang talagang extra energy, and this was one of those days.
Okay. We'll have a chat siguro. We'll have a chat about that siguro mga, I don't know, mga 3 months from now siguro. We'll have a quick chat on that. There's something about energy, no? Okay. Attorney, ito, last na bumati lang. Good morning po sa inyo, Attorney
Yes.
Dana and Sir Sunny. Ayan. So,
Yes, that's my
Danielin Alinsod
schoolmate
Travila.
from Coronadal. Schoolmate
Oh.
ko po yan from Coronadal. Dinalyn, hello.
Dinalyn.
Hello.
Dinalyn, mabuhay.
Dinalyn.
Dinalyn, mabuhay.
Yeah.
Alinsod Travila o Travila?
Travila po siguro. Travila.
Travila. Mabuhay ka, ha? Travila.
Ayaw nga, guys.
Dinalyn. Nako. Talagang kailangan magpunta ako sa Coronadal pag nagpunta ako ng Jensen. I have to go there.
Makikilala ka na po doon pag pumunta ka po doon. It's
Gano'ng
really a
katagal?
nice place.
Gano'ng katagal? From Jensen to Coronadal, how long is the, I don't know ba, kung privately? 1 hour?
1 hour.
Okay. Kaya.
An hour by
oo.
car. Kung normal yan, some people who
Oo,
drives
oo.
very quickly swears that they can do it in 45 minutes.
Sige. Well, I'd love to go to Coronadal. We were on our way actually, pero hindi namin tinuloy because, well, quick lang yung time namin, no? Pero yeah, well, next time. Okay, so Dinalyn, mabuhay. Okay, siguro, attorney, ready ka na, no? Doon sa ating
Yes.
yung topic
Ako na daw.
tonight, no? Jargon Buster Personal Injury Cases. So, sige, attorney, take it away.
Exactly. Maraming salamat, Mr. Laragan. As I've said, it's one of the areas of law that I feel very very attached to, kasi ito yung area na I started developing, exploring when I was a younger lawyer on my own, and I find it very satisfying to get a client. Mostly I act for claimants of personal injury cases, and we try to get a settlement, compensation para sa kung ano yung nangyari sa kanila. Dito sa UK, mostly from insurers rather than direct people. So that's the setup of this jargon buster. Personal injury cases. These are the cases na maririnig nyo involving road accidents. For example, may nabangga, may nasagasaan, or alternatively, what we call workplace accidents. Yung mga natalisod, o yung mga, I had one case wherein it was a failure of a company to provide proper chair. So that's an example of that case. And sometimes in other cases too, just public public spaces, personal injury on that one. You've heard of this in the UK, narinig nyo na po to sa mga news, yung pag may snow, natiso din dun sa snow, or you've heard of it na on a public space, may nahulog sa kanila, and then it caused damage to property and personal injury. So this is the scope of this, and we're here to bring you back one of our favorites, jargon buster. So commonly used terms and phrases that you will hear in this type of litigation proceedings. So magagamit nyo to if you're currently dealing with a compensation claim of your own, or meron kayong kakilala, kapamilya, kaibigan, na sabi ni Mr. Laragan kanina, kapitbahay, pwede nyo pong ikwento sa kanila na alam nyo na yung mga commonly used terms and phrases. Let's start with the most probably common one, which is called RTA. What is it, RTA? Mag-type nyo yan, makikita nyo straight away, you'll hear it, you'll see it in the news, you hear it sa abogado nyo, makikita nyo siguro dun sa exchanges nila with the other lawyers. RTA pretty much says road traffic accident. That's the abbreviation for that. So commonly used, RTA. Next is EL. Now that's not so common, hindi yan commonly used in terms of yung usual na usapan. EL means employer's liability. Ito yung mga kaso, this is under, this relates to cases that I've told you about. Yung mga kaso wherein the employer fails to provide a reasonably safe premises. And ito din, controversial ito nung COVID, when nurses were alleging, not just UK, nurses were probably noting concerns about their employers' ability or capacity to provide them with PPE or protective clothing. So all employers in the UK have this duty to provide a reasonably safe working premises. And if they fail to do that, that's what we call employer's liability case, or EL. So hindi lang yan sa PPE, pwede din yan. As I've said, sample case was my previous case where there was an employee who raised an issue about need niya to have a special type of chair. So there was a risk assessment, there was all of this, and they found na kailangan niya talaga. She was reasonable about it, and they need to provide her this reasonable adjustment by way of a special chair, and they failed to do so, and it cost her this back injury for a long time. So that's what we call employer's liability, or EL. Next, kung may EL, meron din tayong PL. So what does PL mean? What this PL means, it means public liability. So it's a case against the company or a local authority. Dito sa UK, yan yung local namin na munisipyo, kumbaga, yan yung, or a local council, yun yung either provincial council or local council, who has the control of a certain premises. So again, dito, if you trip because may hazard, merong risk in terms of someone's property, and they again failed to keep it safe, you can sue them. In the UK, you've seen that on the news. Every time it snowed dito, you see people suing their own local authority because they failed to grit the sidewalks, or they failed to keep the sidewalks safe and sound for road users. Whether or not those cases will succeed will depend on the elements of the case, which I will talk to you about next. So in this type of cases, personal injury, hindi lang dahil nagkaroon ka ng injury or you suffered some losses, financial losses, or physical ailment, it means automatic na meron kang claim. That's not automatic just because you suffered an injury. There are three elements of the case. Tatlo yung kailangan nyo i-prove. The first one, which is the first jargon buster under elements of cases, called breach of duty. Ano ba yan? Ano ba yung breach of duty na yan? First of all, may duty. Let's start with duty. Duty means ito ang kailangan nilang i-comply with by law. They employers, the owner of a premises, and then your employer, road users, they will have this duty to for employers and for premises owners, they have a duty to keep a reasonably safe premises or reasonably safe working area. And for road users, they have a duty to drive safely with reasonable skill and care, and to follow what we call the highway code in the UK, if you're here in the UK. So that's part of yung how you use the road. If you're a vehicle owner here in the UK, alam natin yan. Nag-theory test po kayo, nag-practical test po kayo. Alam nyo kung ano yung ina-expect na conduct sa inyo ng batas dito sa UK. And if you fail, kumbaga kung hindi mo sinunod yan, sabi, mirror signal maneuver, or you have to stop sa zebra crossing for the pedestrians. Recently, the Highway Code has highlighted na pag ang pedestrian ay nasa road, you probably literally have to give them right of way. So if you fail to do that, that is what we call a breach of duty. If you didn't follow what's expected of you by the law, that's a breach of duty, which is to have a reason, to drive with reasonable skill and care, and to provide a reasonably safe premises. What does that mean exactly for employer? Meron tayo padami na ang mga business owners in the UK. It means following health and safety regulations. It means making sure na naka-paper trail yung mga inspection nyo with your either with your premises, or kung may mga equipment man kayo, you'll check it regularly in accordance sa industriya nyo. If you're a healthcare provider, kung care home man kayo, you'll have this regulations under, I think, the CQS ba yun? You have the Care Quality Commissioner or your own regulatory body to provide you with the guidelines, you know, what to do, how to keep your premises safe. So you have to follow that, and most importantly, you have to keep evidence of you following that. That's what it means to keep a reasonably safe premises. You know, to start off with safe and maintain it to be safe. And if you don't do that, that's what we call breach of duty. The next element of the case, of this case, of a negligence case, of you doing a personal injury case, is what we call causation. In very simple terms, causation is just that link. Dahil may breach of duty ka, it caused this result, this outcome, which is maybe nagkaroon ng fracture yung isang tao dahil hindi ka nag-drive ng mabuti, you failed to follow the highway code, you hit this pedestrian, and it caused these injuries and nothing else. Wala nang iba pang rason kundi yung breach mo, yung failure mo as a road user. That's what it means by causation. Or if you're an employee, that's the only reason, in my other example, that this employee is suffering with back pain is because you failed to provide a proper chair or reasonably safe chair. And nothing else. Hindi dahil may rheuma siya or hindi dahil may genetic disease siya. It's only that. That's what causation means. Yun lang yung nagli-link dun sa outcome. Yun lang yung nagli-link dun sa personal injury. Yung kakulangan mo, yung deficiency ng defendant in this case. That's what causation means. That's all it is. And the third one, it may seem overly simple, but loss. You know, you have to suffer loss, whether but via personal injury or financial losses or property damage, you have to suffer loss. Kung muntikan ka lang nasagasaan at wala naman, hindi ka naman na trauma, wala talaga, hindi ka naman nasaktan, walang financial losses, hindi mo naman napansin, there's no loss. So there's potentially no case. However, if na-trauma ka, you know, physical, not just physical, hindi ka physically injured, but you're psychologically injured, then that's a loss as well. That's a recognized that's a recognized injury, psychological damages, and then maybe because of that you weren't able to attend work, then again that's potentially a loss of earnings, which we will talk about later on. So remember those three elements of cases. I've said, hopefully never kayo mag-suffer ng personal injury. So maybe, if you're talking to a friend who has a case like this, you can have a discussion and you can share your understanding of these commonly used terms and phrases. Now we move on dun sa mga nitty-gritty. Ito na yung parang sa kasagsagan ng kaso. What are the commonly used terms and phrases that you will hear from a lawyer or hear from the other side in this type of cases? The first one is liability admitted. Yan, maririnig nyo yan kung straightforward yung kaso and ikaw yung claimant, ikaw yung naapi, ikaw yung inasagasaan o ikaw yung nabangga. And it's very clear-cut na kasalanan ng kabila, and they say, do you know what? Liability is admitted. Ibig sabihin, they raise their hand up, and they say the fault is mine, or the fault is our client's, or the insurer on their behalf has said, that's our client's fault, or that's our insured's fault. In the UK's non-UK listeners, it is a requirement. Insurance is a requirement rather before you can drive here. So most of the time, unless in very, very exceptional circumstance, when we have a personal injury, we go and deal with it via the insurer. We go against the insurer. Not necessarily directly dun sa person. Although named pa rin sila dun sa kaso, ang kausap naming mga abogado, if we're representing the claimants, are the insurers mostly. And that's the reason why you hear me saying, oh, yung insurer, ito yung sinabi. Insurer is the one who insures the car. Yun yung mga nakapangga, yung nakamaga sa'yo, insured siya. And as I've said, yung tao, that's the person itself, the driver of the other vehicle, or yourself, whoever is insured, sino man yung, whether yung insurance mo, yung nagsasalita, insurance provider mo, yung kabilang insurance, you could be the insured. Siya yung insured na driver. That's again a jargon buster. But the most important thing here to note is pag narinig mo yung liability admitted, that's a good news. Good news yan kung ikaw yung claimant. It means hindi na nila depensahan yung unang elements of case. So they're gonna say, look, put their hands up now, you just have to prove your losses. Now, minsan, hindi ganun kadali, and they might say liability denied. As it says, as the words do say in itself, liability is not accepted, or sinasabi hindi nila fault. It's not their fault for whatever reason. And they may likely provide an explanation bakit. So most of the time, sasabihin nila na yung client nila or yung insured nila, finalo naman yung highway code, or they followed what the health and safety guidelines say. And that's why liability denied. Now, merong in between dyan So, liability admitted, sobrang, it's our fault, don't worry. Or liability denied, no, it's your fault. In the middle, we have something that we have this term that we call contributory negligence. So, ibig sabihin, okay, may kasalanan kami, pero ikaw may kasalanan ka rin. So that's what that means, contributory negligence. So if you hear that in a case, not quite good news, not quite fully bad news either. It just means they will say to you na, siguro sasabihin na, 50% lang ang negligence, 50% lang ang kasalanan namin dyan. And that will have an effect dun sa compensation calculation later. So that's it. That's those are the three quite interesting first early phrases rather that you will hear in this type of cases. Now we go again, abbreviation na naman, URN. So that's URN. That means unique reference number. So if you suffered an accident, still call the police. Kahit na hit and run at tumakbo na yung nakabangga sa inyo o nakabangga sa inyo, tawag pa rin po kayo ng police para madokumento nila so that they can take evidence. Sometimes you'll never know, may mga ebidensya pala na nakuha or may CCTV pala na hindi nakikita. It's very important that they are called to the scene and they will give you a URN. Police ang magbibigay po sa inyo nito. That's what they call the unique reference number. And kailangan nyo yan dahil if you are going to go to a lawyer who will try to claim compensation for you and they're trying to to collate your evidence na kolektahin na yung mga ebidensya nyo, they will say to you, asa na yung unique reference number mo? At sometimes police would put it in a paper kasama yung business card nila. I know people, yung mga biktima ng personal injury or RTA at that time, there might be shock na sila, so hindi nila minsan ma-remember if they were given a URN. But ang ma-remember nila, may nagbigay ng business card, yung police ay nagbigay ng business card sa kanila. And most of the time sa likod po nun, andun ang unique reference number. So that's what we want, a unique reference number from the police, which will be the reference that we will use when we ask the next thing, which is what we call the collision report. So that's the next jargon. It's called collision report. Specifically in the UK, and that's what may mga collisions unit, collisions department or collisions unit ang bawat departamento ng police dito. So when we lawyers get a case, if we want to know and understand what the police have gathered as evidence when they attended the scene, we'll ask for the unique reference number and then we'll contact the police. We'll give them the unique reference number. This is the case, this is the URN, this is when it happened. Can we please have the collision report? So yun ang kukunin namin, and we lawyers, we normally don't have any problem getting those. So unless may criminal proceedings. So this is civil proceedings. First of all, this is not a criminal matter. This is civil proceedings purely for the purposes of getting compensation. So that's collision report from the police. And the next one, we're talking about the report. So hindi lang collision ang kailangan natin, hindi lang in terms of evidence, hindi lang kung ano yung nangyari, but also kung ano yung naging epekto sa inyo if you've suffered injuries. So if your injury tends to be simpler, whiplash, soft tissue injuries, bruising, or masakit yung likod or yung neck, we normally ask you to go and get a medco report. So we organize that. Lawyers organize that for you. We try to find the closest. We use this for this certain organization or this system, medco. So lahat ng mga lawyers, insurers, and everyone, the stakeholders in this industry, we have this single system that we use, which is called medco. It's recent, probably a few years, 2015 ata. That means na meron kaming database that will generate a random search. If we put the postcode there, it will generate a random search of who's closest to you. And yung mga experts na to, the system is arranged like this, has been arranged like this to ensure independence and to ensure that those experts, which are normally GP doctors, do follow what's required of them by the law and by the insurers and by all the legal professionals in terms of providing evidence. So don't you worry, the only thing that you need to know about when you think, medco report, they're not special professionals, just that they were briefed to do this report in accordance with this set of rules and set of guidelines. So lawyers will arrange that for you, but if you hear medco report, simply it's a medical report. And it's normally for simpler injuries. If your injury is quite complicated or complex or long-standing, you would likely have a number of experts report. Depende sa inyong injury. So if you had a traumatic brain injury, you probably have to have a neuro a neurosurgeon, you probably have to have other, physio and orthopedic report, and so on and so forth. So for more complex injuries, it is a specific expert's report. For simpler injuries, it's likely to be a medical report. Next, so hindi lang injuries, diba? Hindi lang kung ano yung nangyari sa'yo, but also kung ano yung impact in terms of losses. We talked about compensation here. So, saan makikita, attorney? You talk about losses, the third element of the case. So, at some point, when we gathered all those evidence, we will draft what we call a schedule of loss or schedule of loss. Now, there's for me, it's an Excel spreadsheet. Doon ko lang ilalagay kung ano yung mga yung kiniklaim natin exactly, under which heads of claim. So is it under PSLA? So that's what we call pain, suffering, and loss of immunity. So that's the injury in itself. And we don't just, I don't just invent a figure out of my imagination. We don't just pick a figure out pluck a figure out from thin air. We have, hindi ko mahanap yung book ko kanina, andito yan, but we have a database online, and we also have a book from the Judicial Studies Board. So that's what we will look at when we put a figure against sa injury mo. Hindi po yan inimbento ko or inimbento ng insurers. This is set by the Judicial Studies Board. So that's for your main injury. That's pain, suffering, and loss of immunity. But we also have special damages. Special damages means past and future loss of earnings. So past earnings, kaya hihingan kita ng probably yung pay slips mo so that I can say, historically, ito yung ini-earn niya. And then now, na nabangga siya, nagka-injury siya, he's not earning as much, but I'm able to evidence past earnings. And yung past, because of that, say for example, na-aksidente ka December, you weren't able to work from December to now, so that's past earnings. And sabi ng doktor mo, you won't be able to come back to work for another 6 months, so that's future loss of earnings. Included in the special damages are also care, so physiotherapy, rehabilitation needs, so anything that you require to put you as close as possible to pre-injury state. So kung hindi masakit yung likod mo before the injury, then we'll have to get a package that will get you as near as possible to that. So that's schedule of loss, including all those types of losses: pain, suffering, and loss of immunity, and special damages. There are other technical claims, but we won't talk about it now. It's just think about this in very very broad terms. Yung injury mo, yung nawala sa'yo, this is what you've lost, and this is what you will likely do. So yun yung summary mo. Summary lahat nun, it's called a schedule of loss. Now, we'll go very briefly dun sa proceedings. We have what we call a claims portal. So if your claim is below £25,000 in the UK, meron po kaming electronic portal. So if you hear of that na sinasabi ng inyong lawyer, don't worry. It's not it's not just a specialty. It doesn't mean na hindi siya proper claim. It's just that the way it is in the UK, if it's under that, then you have to lodge it in the claim portal. For more complicated cases, or cases above £25,000, we do it the usual way, via correspondence, either via letter or via email. We do letter before action, one of Mr. Laragan's favorite words. The same thing, we send them advance information of what we have about the case, why are we suing them, how much are we suing them, how much are we likely to be suing them for, and what evidence do we have So that's fairly the same principle for civil proceedings. And I will talk about, ito naman, parati itong name-mention. Very, very important to. We're going to talk briefly about offers. And in personal injury cases where it's about compensation, it's about a settlement package. It's about a figure that you're going to get so that you can be rehabilitated back. This is quite important. So offers of settlement. And maririnig niyo po ito parati. We call it the Part 36 offer. So it's a special type of offer. What it is this. So you're claiming for a certain figure. And the other side might say, do you know what? We don't believe that you will get that if you go to trial. But we believe that you will get this. So a certain amount of money that they will put under the heading of Part 36. What it is parang bet yan. So they say, look, if you beat us in trial, if halimbawa ako, I say my claim is 50,000 pounds. And Mr. Laragan is the opposite, siya yung lawyer sa kabila. And they will say, do you know what, Dana, I don't believe that your client's case is 50,000 pounds. I will make you a Part 36 offer of 40,000 pounds, say, for example. So when I speak to my client, if you're in the litigation, maririnig niyo to, we have just been given a Part 36 offer of 40,000 pounds. A, that's the offer, and B, merong epekto dahil Part 36 yung heading. What it means is we have to beat it in trial. Kailangan sure tayo na if we don't accept it, we have to ensure that we beat it in trial. Otherwise, potentially, pwedeng mag-claim si Mr. Sonny Laragan in this case ng cost against us. That's the only thing. It gets very technical than that. But the only thing that you need to remember if you have a Part 36 offer is have a real think about it dahil potentially may cause consequences sa iyo. And really ask your lawyer, what are the chances of you guys beating that offer in trial? That's what you need to know for this particular purpose and for this particular day of Jargon Buster of personal injury cases. So if you get Part 36 offer, magtanong po kayo ng merits ng case nyo. Magtanong po kayo kung kaya ba natin yung talunin sa trial. Very, very important. So that's really it. That's all the Jargon Busters today. So hopefully you pick up one or two things na favorite nyo na quite strange or quite peculiar that you will tell your friends about that you learned today. So yes, hopefully that's helpful for everyone.
Wow. Okay. Maganda. Marami kang na-discuss ngayon, no? Okay. Doon sa Part 30, for Part 36, okay, you were saying, for example, siyempre, yung part nung na-injure, at saka yung, sabi mo nga, from the beginning, hindi naman yung tao hinahabol nyo, insurance company, di ba? Dahil yun ang magbabayad
right.
Okay.
Yep.
Sa Part 36, so ang nag-offer ng Part 36, yung insurance. So, halimbawa, for example, Tama ba?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Both parties can make a Part 36 offer.
Both parties can make the aggrieved party, for example, injured party will make an offer, Part 36, attorney?
Absolutely.
Akala ko, kunyari ako yung injured, halimbawa, yung lawyer ko ang feeling namin 50K ang makukuha namin. Yung nag-Part 36 offer yung kalaban. Yung insurance or whoever, no? Yung other side. So 40,000, parang kulang, parang 50 ang gusto ko eh. Now, if we go to court, ang sinasabi mo ba, ang repercussion, yung 50 mo, ibig sabihin, wala na, hindi na babayaran, hindi ba, okay, let's say, 50 ka, ang gusto mo, dahil feeling mo yon 40 counter offer sa'yo, sa Part 36, natalo ka. Pero sabi mo go to your lawyer, check with them, baka kung talagang, is there a likelihood that you will win? That kung talagang hindi, So, let's say, kung natalo ka,
it's not just winning. It's also making sure that you beat 40,000. So, kung nanalo ka, sabi mo, nanalo ko, well done, nanalo ko. Pero magkano lang yung binigay ng korte? 35,000, for example.
Okay. Oh, 35,000. So you still get the money, 35, pero you'll be paying for
No.
costs. Ay na, no.
Yeah, yes, you will get 35,000, but you're probably, depende kung kailan ginawa yung Part 36 offer, you may have to pay back yung cost ng defendant.
Okay, defendant yung naka-injure sa'yo plus on behalf or the insurance company. Ganun. Teka muna,
Yes,
babayaran mo. Okay, so panalo ka pa rin, 35, babawasan ng cost na sa kanya. Ganun ba?
Babawasan ng cost kung ang cost nila 35,000 din.
Oh, sis Mario Joseph, wala rin.
Exactly.
Okay, so who determines, for example, you were mentioning Excel and everything, you were mentioning about a certain schedule of loss na parang dito this falls within this mga pwede mong isingil ganyan, no? Pag-usapan natin mga loss of income, injury, kung ano pa mga sinasabi mo, mga special damages. So na-incorporate lahat ngayon yon. Yung price na yun, for example, yung sinasabi, let's say we feel that it's 50K, that is based on the schedule of loss na parang di ba,
Yes,
itemize, gano'n? Parang,
naka-itemize, that's right, yeah.
oh, okay.
Na, and we have evidence. I'm trying to find kanina tinago ko yan sa kaya nalagay, I'm trying to find my book for Judicial Studies Board. So every item ay nakalagay na gano'n, and meron akong sarili kong draft, and the other side may have their own counter schedule of loss, and that's actually their own the technical term. So they would say, I don't agree with your figure. I think this is the right figure. Hindi po to automatic. So when we have the Judicial Studies Board, it's only a guideline. It's only a guidance. So your lawyers would have to do the job of saying, you know what, mas mataas yung kailangan dito ng client ko because of X, Y, and Z dahil mas komplikado yung injury, or mas matagal yung rehabilitation period niya. It's 3 years rather than 2 years. And they will say, no, actually, sabi nung expert mo, 2 years lang, oh. And I will say, no, 2 years na tayo, magti 3 years na tayo, hindi pa rin magaling yung client ko. So it's all about persuading the other side to accept your figures. So this 50 grand, they will say, divided to sa ganito, 25,000 sa pain, suffering, and loss of immunity, 10,000 sa loss of earnings, 10,000 sa past loss of earnings, or 10,000 sa future loss of earnings. So you don't just you don't just find a figure, yung abogado mo na, ito yung makukuha niya. Your lawyer would have to break it down and provide supporting arguments bakit ganun yung kiniklaim niya and how much for each heads of claim.
Minsan ba nagtatagal yan, attorney? No? Okay, kasi yung first start na pag sinabing liability accepted, yay, di ba? You were thinking, okay na,
Yes,
open na siya talaga magbayad. They know that there's liability.
Right, yeah.
Pero hindi pa tapos ang laban doon dahil you're gonna be talking about amounts na yan, di ba? Yung mga kumagkano na, di ba? Magkano? Doon ba nagtatagal? Gaano ba nakakatagal? Say, nabangga, nasagasaan, or whatever. From that time on, normally, let's say, ano pinakamatagal? Ano mga lead time yun? Ano mga normally yan?
It really depends sa injury, sir. If you're talking about soft tissue, it should just be 6 months could take still 6 months.
Ano ba soft tissue? Isa na whiplash. Ano ba whiplash? Yung biglang yung neck? Ganon?
That's right.
Ano naman yung soft tissue? Ano naman soft tissue?
Soft tissue is just about it's a soft tissue. Pwede ka may soft tissue dito kasi dito
yung mga parang biglang meron ka lang ganon. Okay. Okay.
Soft tissue is just the soft tissue. Ibig sabihin, wala kang fracture. It's just a muscle.
Okay. O kasi pwede kasi babalian ka. Mas lalong lalaki ang di ba? Damage dahil mag-rehabilitate ka pa and everything, no? Okay.
And kaya din po tumatagal yung kaso. It's because sometimes we're waiting for the injuries to plateau, for the symptoms to plateau, especially with complex and serious injuries. So meron kaming traumatic brain injury before. And kahit kami, naghihintay kami, it's been 1 year, but the doctors still don't know if they will get better. They will say, we need to know after, we need to see how things are after 12 months. What you want as a lawyer is, kasi pag nagsettle na yun eh. It's likely that's the case. Although may certain circumstance na you allow for future deterioration, it's not ideal. What you want is a package for the client now. And what you need is to understand ano ba yung long-term prognosis ng client nito. Are they going to be better? Are they going to regain full use of their legs? O yun na talaga, meron na talagang permanent damage. For a brain injury, are they going to be your speech nila? Will it be better with speech therapy? Because we had the case like that. Na got better after 12 months. So, okay, all right, that's no, wala namang permanent damage. So we need to understand. So that timeline depends on complexities of injury and kung kailan natin makikita na, you've reached your permanent prognosis, if at all possible with that case. So very interesting. Meron kami 3 years or more, but not because nag-aaway kami, but because both parties agreed to extend the period to allow for further investigation on the prognosis. Meron namang mabilis lang kasi simple lang, a few months or a few weeks, it's very simple injury. But sometimes stuck talaga doon sa debate about that schedule of loss. Doon talaga yung or minsan about liability. I had a case it was stuck for a long time. Ayaw talaga nilang tanggapin na fault ng client nila. They said, 50% fault ng client mo. And my client was adamant. He said, no, really not. I've been driving that road for 40 years. I know that my car did not cross your line. So what we did is we got forensic evidence. So scientifically, just by looking at photos, and that's the reason why I said importante po tumawag kayo sa police, because in that particular case, wala nang car, wala nang anything. It's only photos. But these very bright scientists were able to figure out that my client stayed on his lane and the other side veered off their lane by 10 degrees. Ganun sila ka-specific. And that was amazing. That won the case. The forensic evidence won the case. So para siyang CSI almost. It was very, very, it's very interesting.
Wow. So you can do that, but that will be more or less added cost that you can pass on to the other side, no? Pagka nanalo ka, ganun ba?
Kung mananalo ka. Kung tama ka.
Kung mananalo ka.
Kung mananalo ka. Kung
Okay.
tama ka.
Medyo.
Yeah,
Specialized yan? Specialized? So is that medyo costly?
Very costly.
Very costly.
That's about
Okay.
3,000 pounds, that evidence.
Wow. Eh, yung kiniklaim naman, anyway, hindi natin sige, ano yan?
It was a fair bit of
Substantial,
money.
okay.
It was substantial, and he got his cost back kasi tama siya. It was
okay.
After that, hindi na sila makaano kasi sabi niya, here's my evidence. But he took the chance. He took the chance with that.
Alam mo ba, well, hindi lang sa personal injury, no, cases to. Pero yung kasi ako hindi pa ako naka-experience ng aksidente, no. Binangga ako ng isang motorsiklo tumakbo. And I didn't know what to do. But there was this guy, na sa kalsada, sabi niya, tumawag ka na police. Yung tumawag ka na sa police, para nga yung URN na sinasabi, importante yan, magiging reference mo, di ba? Para i-prove na pag nag-claim ka sa insurance, gano'n. Dahil tinakbuhan ka eh. Tinakbuhan ako ng siguro nagdi-deliver yun. Nawala sa nagmamadali siguro. So, yun. It's parang horrifying din yan, yung mga first time experience. I've never ever had an aksidente sa UK, pero nangyari sa akin yun. So, yung advice mo, attorney, na pag may nangyari sa kanila, tawag lang kayo ng police, no? Tawag lang, kailangan for the purposes of claiming anything, no? Mapa-injury o mapa-damages, no?
And kahit po, in what you said, just a little note of that, kahit hit and run, dito sa UK, may departamento who deals with those cases na nawawala, either walang insured, hindi sila insured for some reason, unlawfully, or nawala sila, na hit and run, and just they left the scene without providing information. So there is what we call Motor Insurance Bureau who will deal with it. So hindi pa rin lost cause. Kaya tawag pa rin po kayo ng police so that you
Ayun.
have that evidence.
But I was lucky kasi kabibili ko lang ng morning nun. Evening ako binangga. Morning nun, kabibili ko lang ng camera. Mali pa nga yung oras dahil bangga ng gabi pero hindi ko na-adjust yung oras. Ang oras 6 in the morning yata, something like that Pero okay pa rin, tinanggap pa rin ng mga police, no? Which is okay, tsaka yung aking insurance. Tanong ko lang, attorney, nangyari naman sa akin, okay, ito may kotse, ang liability, bisikleta, no? I was driving along sa Hammersmith, tapos yung may nagbibisikleta, may bato na tumama sa sa salamin ko, nabasag. Ayaw niya magbayad Yan ba may liability? Saan ko, hindi ko na chinarge ko lang sa insurance ko na parang something, parang aksidente. Pero, yung kanya biker, di ba yung may bisikleta, yung mga bato, biglang tumama sa, maliliit lang na bato, nakakabasag ng windshield,
Nakakabasag,
Oo, nakakabasag yan. So, nabasag. Paano ang dapat kong gawin? Kunyari, may dapat ba akong ginawa? O wala na. Bigla nang umalis, sabi niya, I'm not liable, sabi niya. Ganun ba? Hindi paano yun? Paano kung, kunyari, may mangyari sa akin uli o sa ibang mga kababayan natin, nabasag yung side ko, di ba? May passenger, ako driver, yung passenger side ko to. Doon sa likod, yung sa likod sa bintana na yun, tinamaan ng chip ng bato Dahil yung gulong niya siguro, biglang, alam na, can I claim?
Yeah,
what can I
well,
do?
the question is, will you be successful? You can make a claim.
Okay.
You can try to make a claim against anyone. You have to prove na hindi niya na-follow yung highway code as a cyclist. He may argue, if I'm acting for him or for her, he may argue or she may argue na hindi ko nakita yung bato, or if I swerve to avoid the rock, then I might cause more injury rather than that. So it depends kung ano yung situation. It depends if what's the evidence. It depends still kung mapuprove mo na he or she was cycling without reasonable skill and care, na alam niya may bato doon, pero alam niya may bato doon, alam niya natatalsik yung bato sa'yo, but then hindi pa rin siya umiwas. And that's for you to take a risk, and if it's going to be worth it for you, because you will be suing this person probably as an individual, rather. I don't know kung may mga insurance, yung mga personal insurance, yung mga cyclists, but potentially as an individual. But if it's a massive case, kahit cyclist man sila, still call the police. I've been on the position na cyclist naman yung injured, so still call the police. Yun yung normally na nangyayari. But in your instance, it seems like it's hard, but if you think that you can prove X, Y, Z, then it's still a possible claim. It's a question of will it be worth your time and the likelihood of you getting that sum later on.
Chinarge ko lang yata sa insurance, but I had to pay this, di ba mga insurance, marang mga excess something pag you pay the first something, 30 quid or 50 quid, and then the
Here's
rest
an
will be.
idea dun sa case na yun. If, and this has happened, I think, I wouldn't say which area, yung road na yan, if I'm the kung ako yung cyclist, I might say that it's not my fault. Potentially, it could be whoever who's supposed to be maintaining the road. So tatanungin, sino dapat ang nagme-maintain ng road na yon? Baka council. And that's when you get public liability and you say, look, hindi dapat walang mga bato-bato dyan, di ba? Dapat hindi yan lubak-lubak. So potentially, you could say na that's public liability matter rather than a claim against the insurance.
Okay, all right. Teka muna, may question yata tayo rito, attorney, no? Ah, ayan, ito. Pero itong ko sa mga, anyway, attorney yan. Sige, go ahead. Pakibasa natin. Kay Edgardo
Uh,
Cagastian.
Go ahead. But then how about callers saying you had accidents in the past months? I just said I don't had accidents, and then they will call again. Are they a legit company? I don't know, but they are probably just trying to fish for potential
Mhm.
cases. So be very careful. I think generally be very careful who you know information you give to people you don't really know, especially with these types of cases. If you are injured, find find a lawyer na alam nyo credible directly, because marami, especially with personal injury cases, a lot of lawyers do no win no fee. We do no win no fee for the right cases. It has to be a case na may a good chance of getting a result. That's the usual test. So no win no win no fee cases on fairly good cases. So also ask a lawyer, ask your local lawyer. Sometimes there's really no need to go through a third party. Just ask a lawyer directly.
So, yung mga kababayan natin, if they feel, for example, na they have to claim, kunyari, mga personal injuries, they can ask you, no? Kayo, dyan, no? Attorney, no?
Yes,
O pwede,
that's
no?
right.
Para malaman nyo kung pwedeng ilaban o hindi, no? Meron kasing
Yeah.
mga, ano ang mga instances na hindi pwedeng ilaban, na parang alanganin, hindi masyadong malakas ang evidence, gano'n?
Yeah,
Paano ba?
sometimes, yeah. Sometimes when, kung nakita mo, kung klaro-klaro naman na hindi na nakasalanan nung nagkiklaim.
Okay.
If it's clear dun sa evidence. Because we ask first, what happened. Okay, and then we ask for evidence, we ask for a diagram. And then sometimes may report na sila, so we'll tell them straight away kung sa tingin namin ikaw pa yung sabihin nila na may fault dito.
Okay, all right. Well, okay. So yeah, thank you, no. May isang quick question dito, mukha yatang something merong parang lupa yan sa Pilipinas, pero tingnan natin, attorney. Sige, baka kung hindi natin masagot, okay lang, no. At least si Chini O.
Chini O, good evening, Attorney Donna and Sir Sonny. I am now in the UK. Meron akong lupa sa Pinas na gusto ko na sana ibenta, kaso ang problema ko po is that yung name ko po sa deed of sale ay mali and different from my passport. My questions are, ano po ba dapat gawin dapat kong gawin sa concern ko, at matagal po ba ang proseso sa pag-transfer ng pera sa UK account ko? Chini, I think it's a question for a Philippine, a lawyer who has jurisdiction in the Philippines. So you have to ask a local lawyer in the Philippines na may specialization sa land law, probably. Transfer ng pera sa UK depends. I think ask your bank. I think best to ask your bank. Bank mo sa Pilipinas in terms of UK. Banks do have the discretion. Depende sa money, hindi sa tatakutin kita, Chini. I just know this from a case before. May discretion po ang bangko to do their own checks, and sometimes they can hold monies if they want to verify the sources. So if you're gonna use a bank, make sure it's bank that you've used before, na alam nila na yung connection mo sa Pilipinas, yung by connection I mean yung economic ties mo sa Pilipinas, and that it's the source of that wealth is likely to be explained very in a straightforward manner. But Chini, ask a local lawyer sa Pinas. I'm sure they'll give you an answer or a solution.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess it's yun na yun, no? Yun ang ating last question ni Chini, no, sa ating programa for tonight. We'll have some, before we say goodbye, i-acknowledge lang natin itong a few mga messages lang dito. Asan na yan, direct. Okay, ayan. Uy. Teka muna, okay na ba, direct? Hindi pa nakakapalit ng question. All right. Edgar, sorry. Virginia Elona.
Thank you,
Sige,
Mr.
okay.
Edgar.
May si Edgar yung message. Good evening, attorney. Sige, go. Good evening, Attorney Dana, Quinto, and Sunny watching from Sweden. Yeah, mabuhay. Nasa Gothenburg yan, si Virginia Elona. Okay, yes. All right. Ano tong kay Edgar Dua yan? Sige. Let's go. Sige.
Edgar Dua,
Yan.
Bonnery, Attorney DQ, and the legendary, now slim and sexy, Sonny Laragan. Happy gaya-gaya kay Ate Dana Day. Mga barkada ko, peace be with you. Tip of the day naman yan. So I think yun yung tip of the day natin, ha? If you've been on any road traffic accident, no matter how minor, o kahit umalis na yung nakabangga, tawag pa rin po kayo ng police. It's very important to do that. Tawag lang po ng
Yes.
police.
Okay, all right. Okay. All right. Okay, may message si RG Menodin, kaya lang hindi pumasok, but we'd like to acknowledge RG. Thank you sa message. Di lang namin no? Hindi lang lumabas sa ating system. Okay, well, I guess it's time for us to say goodbye. Attorney, baka meron ka pang nakalimutan na gustong maidagdag, baka nakaligtaan mo, naalala mo kagad, or let them know how to contact you, no? In case they would need personally, or they need a lawyer to represent them. Go right ahead, Attorney.
Yes, if you'd like to talk about your case perhaps hindi ito yung comfortable venue publicly, you can call us. At some point, it will pop up now, 01234225188, or email us at d.quinto@dvsolicitors. There we are. Ayun na. d.quinto@dvsolicitors.com. Or call us at 01234225188. As always, thank you. Maraming salamat po sa inyong pagsubaybay at for continuously coming back here sa ating remote social bubble. Thank you, Direct Pao, and sa slim and sexy na Sonny Laragan. Always a pleasure to come back here, Mr. Sonny Laragan. Ay, naku, speechless na ata. Di ba
Totoo ba yan?
nangyari sa-
Nag-slim down ba ako? Because I see myself, huh?
Hindi po ano yun. Totoo po yun. Hindi po
Really?
bola yun.
Oh, all right. Okay. Well, thank you. So, ayan. Okay. So, well, nako, maraming salamat, attorney. Maraming salamat. We want to thank you for this wonderful, yung ating jargon buster. No? So, yung mga RTL, road traffic accident, employer's liability, public liability, causation, ano naging dahilan yon? At least talaga may pinagmulan, no? Breach of duty, liability accepted pala pagka walang problema, liability denied, yan, mga collision report, no? Tapos yung sinasabi mo, medco report ba o medco lang?
Medco, tama. Ma'am, tama po,
Medco, mga schedule of losses, no? Pero sabi mo schedule, kasi dito schedule talaga yan, no? Magtataka yung mga taga-Pilipinas. Ano yun? Schedule ho yun, pero dito sa UK, binibigkas ho na schedule. Di ba?
That's
Tama?
right.
What's your schedule tomorrow? Yan, di ba?
That's right, yeah.
Sa atin,
I try saying it. So Filipino style then, or American. I think American is schedule as well.
Schedule
Yeah.
yan. Oh, pero dito talaga schedule, no? Most of the people you meet naman dito, attorney, schedule. What's your schedule? What is our schedule? Yan.
So parang ganun din pag narinig nyo, ano yung schedule of loss? It's actually schedule.
Schedule
of loss.
schedule of loss. Schedule ho yun, schedule. Parang ganun. Kaya lang, Amerikano, Pilipinas, ganyan, schedule. Pero dito, schedule. So, ayan.
Schedule, yeah.
Oo, parang tomato, sa atin tomato, sa dito vitamin.
Exactly.
Pero sa Amerikano, sa atin vitamins, di ba?
Yeah.
So, iba ho. Oh, mga secretary, sa atin secretary. The
Yeah,
military,
secretary.
dito military, secretary.
Military.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Ayan.
that's right.
At least malaman na nila. So dagdag kaalaman din sa mga aside from the legal jargon, meron din akong jargon na dinagdag ho para sa atin. Dagdag ho natin.
jargon, yes, that's
British,
right.
oo. So military, yan, dito yon. Secretary, at saka ho yung I don't know kung alam mo, attorney, yung lieutenant. Lieutenant dito, lieutenant dito, pero hanapin mo asan yung letter P. Pero
Yeah,
ganun
that's
ho
right.
Wala kang magagawa. Ganun talaga ho. Ang pronunciation mo, lieutenant. Magugulat ko, bagong-bago ko rito. Lieutenant. Yung pala, anong lieutenant? Yung pala lieutenant, no? Yung teniente.
Lieutenant, that's right. Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
Lieutenant Pao, Lieutenant Sunny, Lieutenant Dana. Yan. Okay, well, I guess it's time for us to say goodbye, attorney, no? Maganda yung discussion. We're looking forward to the next week's ang tag dito, ano tawag ito, episode again of our Legal Advice Corner, o kung ano na naman ang lalabas sa yung ating kaalaman. Looking forward na naman. Okay. Well, it's a good, well, tama because I'm coming back. I'm gonna see you next week, no? But I'm gonna be away for a few days. Celebrate Valentine's Day someplace else. And
Wow.
come back, no? So, nauna ako sa'yo, attorney.
Nauna
Nauna
ka.
ka. So it was supposed to be your birthday trip.
I'm so happy for you.
Oo, sa akin naman, Valentine's trip lang yan. But, yeah. So, we'll see you. So, I guess it's time for us to say goodbye. No? Maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat, sa inyong pagsubaybay. No? Walang sawang pagsubaybay dito sa ating palatuntunan. So, sa ngalan ni Attorney Dana Quinto, sa ngalan natin Direktor na si Paula Perez, ito po si Sonny Laragan nagsasabing, take care, God bless, and keep safe always. Ha? Ingat-ingat. So, till next week, see you then. Good night.
Bye.
Bye.
Tapos yan niluluto ko Paborito ko yan.
Sa World Remit, naiintindihan namin ang iyong paglalakbay. Na minsan, kailangan lumayo upang makamit ang tagumpay. With ways to save more, when you send more, World Remit is here for you, so you can be there for them.